Wait a sec. Have I seen this movie before? Yesterday, I saw How to Train Your Dragon, and no, not the original movie. I mean the new one made in 2025. Yes, another live-action remake of a beloved animated franchise that isn't even that old has come out. It's very obvious that companies are seeing what Disney is doing with their movies and seeing all the money that they're generating, ignoring all the bad reviews that they're also getting and just making them for the sake of it. It is just sad that we are at this point in life that we have to do this. Instead of putting time and money into original movies and ideas and stories to tell, let's just open the vault and remake an old movie just for money. Because yes, these movies are made for money. It's not because of passion. Maybe it was at the beginning, but it definitely isn't now. And you know DreamWorks is going to do this with other movies. How long until we get the B-movie live-action remake, the Madagascar live-action remake, or hell, even the Shrek and Kung Fu Panda live-action remake? DreamWorks has now opened this door, so it's only a matter of time before they actually do this. So, it's whatever, you know. It's bound to happen, and Disney is going to keep making more of these because Lilo and Stitch of 2025 was a massive success, so they're going to keep making them even though Snow White failed this year by a lot. And How to Train Your Dragon 2025 is also making a lot of money. So yeah, get ready for them, boys. They're coming. I've never really liked these live-action remake movies, this idea of taking an old movie and making it for the quote-unquote modern audience, which is such a stupid excuse. If you want to make it for the modern audience, why don't you reanimate it and add some scenes or, you know, change up the story and tell a reimagining? But why would they ever do that? I've already talked enough about my stance on these live-action remakes, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just going to stop. As I said before, I hate them. They're stupid. I think they're a waste of time. If you like them, fine. It's your opinion, your taste. I'm just saying what I believe. Now, I said I would stop talking about it, but let's take the idea of remaking a movie for modern audiences. For me, a good live-action remake is something that takes the original story and slightly changes it while making it for modern audiences. Now, for how it's going to be presented, pretty much every company is just doing the live action route instead of reanimating it. But what about other aspects of the film? Are they going to tell a new story? Are they going to add some new characters, add some new dialogue? What are they going to do? If a studio can do those things and make those choices and all those changes, then I think it's a good remake. Because why would you make a remake of a film that's one for one? Well, it doesn't matter. I don't need to talk about it more because that's essentially what DreamWorks did with this film. Usually one of the first things I talk about is the story and what was being told, and I don't have to. If you have literally have seen How to Train Your Dragon that came out in 2010, guess what? Congratulations, you actually don't need to watch this movie. I promise you, there is not a single reason to go watch this movie. Oh, but James, why did you go watch it? It's because I'm here now telling you about it, and also I like watching somewhat bad movies, and I'll get more into that later, how I stand on it. But I kid you not, there is no point of this movie existing. I have a little brother who loves How to Train Your Dragon, the franchise, the trilogy. He considers them some of the most perfect movies ever made by DreamWorks. And I do agree. I think How to Train Your Dragon is one of the best animated movies out there. And I love the universe that they have. And I recently watched the first one, so I, of course, knew what to expect when it comes to this remake. And I kid you not, I could have just closed my eyes and I would have just watched the same movie. My brother also made the same joke that this movie is going to be a perfect movie if you're blind, because you don't need to really watch it. You just need to listen. It's basically the same movie. And that's true. Now, did they make any changes? Yes, they added more conversations about Hiccup's mother, and they added more character to Astrid, as well as gave Snotlout more character, and by that really they really showed the relationship he has with his dad. Now, is that really spoiling anything? I mean, kind of, but that is literally it. And I won't say what happens between these two, but yes, Snotlout's dad is shown in this film, and I promise you the payoff for the side plot for you paying attention to this character is not gonna matter in the fucking slightest. I kid you not, I was waiting for the movie to give us a reason for them to tell us this relationship or show us this relationship, and that did not happen in this film. But again, I won't say what it is, just know it's pointless. So yeah, already we're not looking too good. Already there's no point of watching this movie. So what else is there really to talk about? Well, I guess the animation, it's fine, it's serviceable, but they do the same fucking thing, and I swear to God, I'm gonna break my table, but I hate when movies do this. They have so many of these scenes, especially with a lot of dragons, in the dark. There is so many scenes in the dark, and obviously, and no, not obviously, you should all know at this point, the reason why a lot of these companies do this is because they're trying to hide imperfections, and it is so lazy. God, I'm getting really fucking sick of dark-ass scenes with these animated creatures. And the dragons are supposed to express so much emotion and character, but can't really do that because half of the time we see them on screen is in a dark scene or at night. Now, there's other scenes with them in the light. We do get to see close-ups of the dragons, and they look fine. They're serviceable. I will say the set pieces, you know, the costumes everyone wore, they actually did look really good. I don't know if they went to a real island or did a real arena because, you know, half of the movie takes place in this arena for training. What they did there, they did a really good job, honestly. The editing of this film is not really that great. There was a lot of times where sound effects was just not heard at all, and there was just times where the movie was just super quiet and like nothing was happening at all. Like, again, I've said this so many times and I don't know why. Whoever keeps editing these movies are doing a horrible job. Like, come on. Like, do people even know how to edit nowadays? I'm not even a great editor, but I could have done a better job. Yeah, so many times where the movie is just awkwardly silent, there's no music, like, sound effects aren't being heard, people are throwing stuff, but you can't hear them. It's just so bad. Lighting was pretty horrible. There's a scene where a lot of, or the Viking adults go on, like, this little mini side quest, and they're shown in the ocean, and it's just, the lighting is just so fucking awful. It's laughable. And there's other times where the lighting is just really, really bad. And it's weird because there's other scenes where they're outside and it looks fine. Cinematography did things differently. There was this really cool pose where Hiccup was like chosen as the Slayer, and he has to like slay a dragon, and he's waiting in like the lobby. There's this back shot of him just looking onward with the hook in his hand or whatever he had in his hand. That was a pretty cool shot. That's about it. Every other shot was reused from the movie. So, yeah, good job, I guess. The music was the same. I wish I had more to say. But yeah, that's it. It was the same. And the music in How to Train Your Dragon is very epic and amazing. And they did the same thing in this new movie. There was a lot of scenes where I was feeling goosebumps and I was getting excited. You want to know why? It's because I've seen it before. My body was being tricked into seeing these things that I've seen before. It's like, oh, look, remember that movie from 15 years ago? It's your childhood or whatever I was in 2010. The last big thing I want to talk about, well, I guess I could talk about the characters, but it also does not matter. They don't add any new characters. I guess they give more plot time to like the chief elder who decides a lot of big things, and they have this whole thing where he has like measuring stones and he's determining who's the best like person in training class, but he doesn't really do much, or she, I don't know if it was a boy or girl, I don't know. But with that, the acting, by far, these are the worst actors and actresses I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm gonna go on a little rant right now, but I hope by saying all of this you'll understand what I'm coming from. So like, normally when you act, you're supposed to read your script, get into character, and, you know, act and do a performance of someone and make it be believable, you know, so the audience can believe it. That is not what the people of How to Train Your Dragon 2025 did, except for Stoic. He was probably the only actor who did a good job, and that's because he's quite literally the same fucking character that he voiced in the original movie. So yeah, he did a good job, but it's because he's just doing the same thing he did 15 years ago. But seriously, other than that, oh my god, what a horrible casting. I don't even want to go through them and go through their names because that would involve just comparing them to the old actors, and some of them I just don't want to even talk about, honestly, because, you know, TJ Miller. The new actors and actresses who are playing like the training squad and Hiccup and all of them, awful. Hiccup was just fine. I think Hiccup was probably maybe the second best, but he had a lot of screen time. But seriously, everyone else was awful. Also, Roughnut was played by a chubbier woman, which it doesn't really matter to me that she's chubby, but like, Roughnut is supposed to be, you know, a twin brother of Toughnut, and like, they're supposed to somewhat look the same, and they don't really look the same. They're not really twins. But again, I don't really care. It's just a small minor change. I don't really mind it, really. But back on point. They're all horrible actors and actresses. I gotta stay on point, Jesus. So I mentioned earlier, I hope this makes sense, but you're trying to be an actor, but what these people were doing was not acting. It's like they were like I don't even know, method acting or like reenacting actions of the film. For example, if you were to watch a scene from a certain movie and you tell yourself, I'm going to do that same exact thing, and you say the lines and you do the things on cue, but you're not performing it. You're just saying the same things. That is what these people did in How to Train Your Dragon 2025. They did not perform their acting roles, or, you know, they did not perform. They just reenacted. There are so many times where the line delivery from these people were just read out loud because that's what they said in the original movie, and it's so lazy and obvious, and I hate it so much. These are horrible and lazy actors. They all should never be in film ever again. It's almost as if they had a little party and they all watched the film when they got casted, and they were like, all right guys, we got to do exactly the same thing as this movie did. We don't need to perform the roles, we need to just do the same thing. Like, there's even a time where Rough Nut says that she's like into Hiccup, and in the original film she says it on top of saying the thing where she's like, wow, you're crazy, but I'm kind of into that. You know, because that's just who she is. She's just like that. In this new movie, the person to play Rough Nut just walks up to Hiccup and says like, I think you're crazy and epic and I like you, or whatever. She's not even trying to be an actor. What is the point of acting if you're not even going to try? They did not perform at all. I swear they just got the role and just did not give a single fuck. By the way, fuck this movie. They were made fun of on Twitter about the whole, oh, it's like the size of my joke and everything. They never fixed that joke. It's still in the film. It's so bad. It just goes to show the line delivery and the editing was so fucking awful. That's all I wanted to say. I had to cut back in for that. But yeah, by far, the acting is the worst aspect of this film. And I'm just going to say it. They should all never be in a film ever again. All of them. With, you know, Jared Butler and maybe Mason Thames, who played Hiccup. They did fine. They were fine. Everyone else, throw them in the slammer. Make them fight dragons for the rest of their lives. Okay, don't throw them into slammers. I'm not wishing any harm or negative things towards them. It's just a joke. I'm just being funny or stupid or whatever. But seriously, horrible job by all of these people. And yeah, they should feel ashamed. It's not like it's gonna fucking matter. This movie made so much money, so get ready for How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3 remake. You know, here's to hoping that they actually, you know, expand on the universe and the lore, but yeah, right. Again, there's not really much to talk about. I could tell you about the plot, but it is quite literally the same movie. I don't need to explain How to Train Your Dragon from 2010. Just go watch that film. Every single good thing that was in this new How to Train Your Dragon movie basically came from that. So that begs the question, why are people even watching this movie? Why should you go watch it? I wish I knew. There was no reason. It was just a waste of time. Now, with that being said, I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. It wasn't the most insulting movie ever. It was a waste of time. It wasn't boring because it was just the same movie, and it's just like, I could have just watched this at home. But they did a few things fine, and they did a good job with some things. Everything else was just basic and boring and bad. This movie is just super lazy, super uninspiring. Nothing special about this movie at all. And I'm so glad that no one was even clapping at the end of this movie like they were clapping for Lilo and Stitch. But here's a fun fact. I heard a child in the audience tell his parents, Dad or Mom, well, how long does this movie have left? How embarrassing. If this movie is not even keeping kids entertained, what is the point of older audience members? Some people just like to relive old movies, I guess, and see what it looks like in the new 3D CGI or whatever. Yeah, kids didn't even like this shit. And, yeah, if you do like this movie, I keep saying it, it's whatever, your opinion. I'm just saying this movie is pretty mid, if not below average. It's almost pretty bad, but almost. It has some redeeming factors, but not much. So yeah, that's How to Train Your Dragon 2025. Another live-action remake that I have to talk about. It's not the worst one, thankfully. At least they decided to just stick to the script, I guess. But yeah, what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know down below. Comment about it. You want to see other movies? Yeah, feel free to go to my channel and watch them. You guys have a nice one.